Welcome to The Prize Inside. The Prize Inside. A chiropractor's journey in everyday holistic health and vitality. Here, your host, Dr. Jeromy Myers, delves into the remarkable journeys of everyday people who have embraced the path to health and healing. Through his practice, Dr. Jeromy encounters inspiring stories of profound transformation and the power of true healing within each of us. Stay tuned as we discuss various holistic topics and unlock the healing potential that lies within us all.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Whole Health Weekly. Hopefully you have a great day today. Hopefully you're noticing my hat. My daughter and I went to a Detroit Tigers game, which was fantastic. They won. We thought it was going to be a super cold, so we had like Carhartts. She thought I was a little over the top with my giant snow gloves and all those kind of things. But it turned out really good, and they won. And we got to see this like banger of a homer like right away. But then after that, it kind of died off. So that was the funniest thing. But the food was great as usual. So welcome tonight to the Whole Health Weekly. Tonight we go over different topics, and I have different articles like in holistic medicine. So what we're gonna do is see those aspects. Biggest thing is like I have a really good article I found that not from my normal source, so I was like pretty pumped about that. Before that though, if you would like to get a newsletter, because we like to do a newsletter on various topics. I think we do weekly, like on a Tuesday. It's tribe1, trib1.substack.com. I'm going to show that to you here. And then also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Rumble channel. Both of them are called The Prize Inside, a chiropractic journey. Sorry. And on YouTube, it is, I think the hashtag is The Prize Inside You. So those are the ways you can get all the latest ones. Like if you missed one and you want to go back this weekend, what did we talk about? Oh, B vitamins. So right now there's a big push on different peptides and a lot of those kind of things, and which is fine. But one of the things that we don't do is we don't like vitamin ourselves up. So that one on Sunday night was all about the B vitamins, what they can do for you, the neurological things. The point of is they were so important. I went and got like extra B vitamins because after the talk, I was like, okay, I want to make sure I'm taking them as well. But there are so many good things out there for that. So before we continue, I always on Wednesday night love to do a chiropractic quote. So tonight's quote is this one. I really like this. This is from Napoleon Bonaparte. Medicine is a collection of uncertain prescriptions, the results of which taken collectively. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that one. All right. I'll switch because that's just mean. I don't really, that's a little rough. And it was Napoleon. So I'm guessing it's a little meaner than medicine to actually be. They've come a long way. So they got some good stuff going. The spine is, let's do Jack LaLanne. A lot of people didn't know Jack LaLanne, one of the first infomercial guys, because he kept living and super fit, was a chiropractor actually. But the spine is the lifeline. A lot of people should go to a chiropractor, but they don't know it. That's the key, and that's one of the problems with chiropractic in general. The entire population should go to a chiropractor. They just don't know it. It's like the entire population should probably have a toothbrush, and they kind of know that. Not the whole population. But quite a bit of the population understand that they probably should brush your teeth. We kind of need to get to that point of understanding that the spine is a pretty important thing to know what's going on, right? So with that said, that was a pretty good one from Jack LaLanne. I'll get rid of these banners and let's start talking about. Let's get on our news of the week. All right. So our news of the week is interesting. Okay. So let's talk about the good stuff. Okay. So the Health and Human Services Make America Healthy Again, pushed under RFK Jr., they have a big shift towards holistic and preventative care. So several recent health and human services initiatives under RFK are trending heavily. The hospital food overhaul, which if anybody's been in there, had to do a thing, you kind of know there's going to be new food healthy agendas that will direct hospitals and nursing homes to prioritize real food and limiting sugary drinks and dietary supplements, reducing ultra processed options. And there's been huge backlash from industry groups, which is kind of hilarious. You want to talk about $1 billion industry? Feed our schools and our hospitals and our military. There is quite a bit out there. And one of the biggest problems is figuring a way to feed all of those people. So that is one reason why you're having the kickback. Not necessarily, I don't think, because they just want to have bad food, those kind of things. But the problem is like you're feeding so many people with so many different things. A lot of times hospitals are relegated to, fake food, essentially, like low caloric intake, super shitty for you. I'm sorry, super crappy for you. It's just you see there's no actual like nutritional value as a holistic person would have. Now, with that said, like the level that like they have to be on all these different aspects is going to be crazy that way. And so a lot of times you're going to have to do those kind of things. Stay right here for me for just a second. I forgot something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. So we have our little chickens. So I don't know if I told you the story, the little chickens. So we had 6 chickens last year. Amazing eggs. If you get a chance, if you got an opportunity, raise some chickens. It's fantastic. The farm fresh eggs were like glorious. But the problem was we lost like 4 to a hawk. So we then ended up having to essentially, so we wanted to raise some more. So we got 6 more. So we had 2 left, and then we added 6, but they had to go graze up until they got able to get in the coop. Well, right now we had to move them just because some of the other stuff. We had to move them in the coop a little early, which they're doing great. The problem is that we have a couple chickens that get out, or they're able to like do their thing, get out of the coop a little bit and go around the yard. Well, if we don't remember by midnight, a lot of people don't know. I didn't know chickens are like blind when it goes dark. So he'll get lost in the shuffle if we don't get him into the coop before the midnight hour. So, and the door is shut because the little ones are in there. So I just had to do that. So I apologize. So we go back to it, but crappy food in our healthcare system and schools, honestly, you make so much money because it's like the number 1 processed food area in the country, in the world, right? that in the military. So one of the things that, because they have to feed so many thousands of people, so we have to figure out an integration that allows better food there, right? And there are ways to do that, but it is a very difficult task. So there's going to be some kickback on that, but I'm glad it's a focus. Okay. Microplastics crackdown came from the Health and Human System. I'm so happy about this. It's going to be crazy. It's called so microplastics crackdown. $144 million. It's called the STOMP program. It's through the EPA and the Health and Human Services to study, detect, and remove microplastics from drinking water and the human body. Huge, and all of us love this idea because of all the stuff that's in there. Interesting tips, though, that were given in this topic. Like they were saying possibly fiber and acetylcysteine, sulfa, they could help. Moringa. We've actually done a show on moringa. Sulforaphane is another one that could help, help with mitigating microplastics, which is kind of cool. Really, this is a big one because of the amount of issues it's actually causing. Antidepressant deprescribing initiative, focusing on reducing overprescribing of SSRIs, improving informed consent, and supporting holistic non-drug mental health approaches, tapering protocols, and lifestyle interventions. This is a big one because we're having some of these different situations, the antidepressants that are out there, and we're running to them pretty quickly. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert in that field. A lot of my one of the coolest things about chiropractic for me will always be that I get to help somebody find a different framework of life. So somebody's never been into a chiropractor before. All they've known is, drugs and surgery. And then all of a sudden I say, hey, there's a better way. A lot of times that actually creates such a freedom for that person that they live a different lifestyle. And so many of these things happen when you're, you get a depression state when you're in pain all the time, right? And so those things, once you start understanding that your body can physically, with the innate intelligence of the body, improve those conditions for you, you start gaining some confidence that's like awesome, and so in chiropractic terms, we get to talk to people about, trying to do that, if with their doctor, of course. And a lot of times you got to remember, doctors don't want to necessarily do that all the time. If they do, get a new doctor. If that's ridiculous, if they want to be a helper with you on that aspect, that will be good. The problem is we just don't take the time to really dive into those. But those SSRIs are pretty traumatic, and they're causing major problems in our youth, especially. So I'm glad there's a focus on that. So that's good. We've already gone over this. I think it's because if you listen to Whole Health Weekly, you knew this, and we're so trending over optimization. So when we decide that we have high tech stuff, we have all these things to fix things. You know how you get in social media, you just can't. It's weird how it works. So the algorithms see that you're reading certain things. They don't see that you're reading certain things, and you're just mortified by certain aspects. So there's a kid, I won't name who he is. He's like some kind of social media guy, and he does things to his body, gets jaw surgery because it for some reason he has this big following where he's manipulating who he is on the outside with surgeries and all these things. And then he, shows videos of him with a bunch of women and all this other stuff that's just absolute garbage. The crazy part is how horrible that is if it's really true. I'm going, I've never heard of the guy, so I'm guessing he's not that big a deal, or they're trying to pump him up, because sometimes they'll do that as well. Just to get, like whatever that is. I was like, do things naturally. Like, do things naturally, age naturally. Love that aspect of life. When you start doing too much stuff, you start running into outside it, like instead of in chiropractic, we call it inside out. So we want to heal what we call above down, right? From the brain down the spine, and inside the body out. Anything that's outside in, typically, that's not helping your body with that inside out healing, is going to cause you some problems, right? So if we, inject our face with a bunch of stuff, and that, like a bunch of chemicals, or we do surgeries on that, a lot of times, okay, maybe for a moment, you look fantastic, but your body goes through things. Your innate intelligence doesn't know what to do if you break your jaw to realign it. Yeah, your body's amazing. It could reset all of those things. But what are the ramifications? What are the absolute ramifications of that? And so that could be a big thing. So just remember, the biggest thing in that over optimization is they're seeing you can cause yourself your own anxiety by wearing a smartwatch all day. I see it all the time. So a lot of times I'll tell people, stop monitoring what you got going, right? Especially early on. I think a lot of people are understanding that now. Blood pressure cuffs, when they started doing the at-home ones, people were taking it 7-8 times a day. You think I'm crazy, but that is an actual pot that was happening. And the more that they take it, the more anxiety they would lead to, the more problems they would end up having. So a lot of times when we get all these really cool tech, like the one we showed you a few weeks ago, the prism, I wouldn't want you to like check your number of your antioxidant level, like for, 27 times a day. That makes no sense, right? I want you to have it as a tool that you would use, just like a scale, just like any of those things. But once you live on those type of things, you're going to have problems, right? Anxiety. Remember the biofield, right? We got to do a talk on that. Maybe this weekend I'll do that. I got to do a good biofield practice talk, because it's really, really fun to get back into that, because we want to know that we have this outside energy force, right? And then a lot of times when we wear these different wearable devices, that can be a major issue. Okay. So that is a good one. All right. Let me see what else we got. Yeah, there's not a lot going on. The big viral trend, I mean, there's this one thing called the hantavirus. I'll have to do some research on it. Just happened. It's a rare hantavirus cluster. It was found on a cruise ship. Has dominated the headlines. There were 7 cases, 2 confirmed, 5 suspected, 3 deaths supposedly, and concerns over possible human to human transmission. Because it's usually rodent borne. The ship carrying a bunch of people en route. Patients are being evacuated. It could, who knows? I don't know much about this virus. I'll have to watch and see. Biggest thing is, if your immune system's strong, here's something in nature. When they try to scare you, in all things, yes, the numbers are bad. They probably got sick, whatever, right? 149 people, only 7 people got it. Why didn't the other 142 people get it? Because their immune systems were strong enough to take it on, right? So a lot of times you must remember that, like as you go, because like the stronger your immune system is at all times, the better off you'll do. Okay. All right. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm not going to waste too much time on it unless something pops up like that. But I saw one that I wanted to talk about. Big one is like that Americans, because we've done such a good job in our sick care model in our garbage foods, that Americans are actually getting sicker younger. The new reports show rising chronic conditions in younger generations, driving demand for health memberships. See, that's what's okay, hang on. Driving demand for health memberships, upgraded annual blood work testing, and preventative care. The I would say I tend to disagree strongly. I think as exercise goes, that's great. But we must fix what we put in our mouth. We have to fix this dietary nutrition stuff all the time. We have to fix, what we do is, like getting outside more often. You know, that is a very big thing. We don't see as much of that, going around, where video gaming, eating crap, those kind of things can lead to kids getting sicker longer. You're seeing it a lot because you have, fatty liver disease that is happening to kids, and so that is crazy that we're having fatty liver disease that used to be in alcoholics. Now, I personally think it's because our foods are so crappy. The liver has to work so hard, it creates the fatty liver process. So we need to start looking at all those things. So those are some trends that were happening this week. Nothing popped out crazily. So let me bring up the exciting one. It's not exciting because it sucks that they did a study and it turned out this way, but it was from a different place, though. All right. So this is an article from McCoy Press. This is a chiropractic kind of article journal, and it's really, really good. So Matthew McCoy's is his name, and this one says MRI scan reveals the shocking truth: screen time is physically damaging young children's brains. Even 2 hours a day of interactive screens is linked to measurable white matter loss in preschoolers, changing how their brains develop language, literacy, and connection. When tablets and smartphones have become everyday babysitters, one chilling MRI study has parents everywhere rethinking their screens rules. Researchers scanned the brains of young children ages 3 to 5 and found clear, measurable changes tied directly to screen-based media use. The findings are impossible to ignore, and too much screen time is not just a bad habit. It may be reshaping developing brains. This groundbreaking study is titled Associations Between Screen-Based Media Use and Brain White Matter Integrity in Preschool Age Children by John S. Hutton. They just okay. So what did the brain scans actually show? The scans painted a disturbing picture. Children with higher levels of screen time showed significantly lower white matter integrity in the brain tracts that support language development, emergent literacy, and executive function. White matter acts like the brain's high-speed communication highways. It is wrapped in myelin. If you listen to me on Sunday, myelin's like the rubber that goes around the electrical wire. So it's wrapped in myelin, and which helps signals travel faster and more efficiently. Even moderate daily screen time, around 2 hours, was associated with poor organization and myelination of these vital pathways. The result was measurable differences that may translate into real struggles with vocabulary, reading readiness, and overall brain connectivity. These changes were visible on the scans before the children even started school, showing that interactive screens may physically alter brain structure during one of the most rapid periods of development. So that one is rough because we're going to have to do something about that. for sure. Screen time in the young ages, you start hitting that 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours or above was really, really starting to actually change the white matter. So there's like white matter in your brain and there's gray matter. We won't go into exactly each one, but think of the white matter as your high speed, um, moving signals through the brain. It's like the electrical, it's the big core. So like think like a nest of wires all over the place that you'd have in, the back of a TV or something where you have a bunch of wires. It's kind of like your white matter. And your white matter is super critical for all those different processes. And so just being aware that that needs to happen is a big deal. Okay. All right. So that was a good article I found. And sometimes I'll have some of those coming through. So that'll be good. Now, tonight, we are going to go into my favorite channel that I get these articles from. And let's pick out some. So this is Dr. Mercola, Dr. Mercola's website. And this is where we do quite a bit of articles that Dr. Mercola is a medical doctor that has a fantastic, kind of like a blog article place. So he gets a bunch of articles put in there. So every day it's like new stuff. So here is the first one we're going to go over. The article is titled, "Some Antibiotics Alter Gut Microbiome Composition for Up to 8 Years." Okay. So a single course of antibiotics reshapes your gut microbiome for years, altering digestion, immune function, and metabolic health long after the prescription ends. Stronger antibiotics like clindamycin and quinolones remove large numbers of beneficial bacteria, leaving your gut less resilient and more prone to imbalance. Most gut recovery happens within the first 2 years after an antibiotic, but complete restoration is very uncommon, leaving measurable compositional shifts that may influence digestion and metabolism for years. Lower microbial diversity has been associated with the changes in inflammation markers, blood sugar regulation, and resistance to harmful bacteria in observational research. Okay, so limiting unnecessary antibiotics, avoiding hidden exposure in conventional meat, and rebuilding your diet with simple, whole foods helps restore balance and protect long-term gut health. Now, this article doesn't go depth enough, I think, into that part, what you can actually do. Limiting unnecessarily antibiotics, sometimes you have no choice. This article also says this is what happens when we take an antibiotic, but we don't have the next step. So once you take an antibiotic, let's say you have to for whatever reason, the next step is to revive and refresh and get to the gut microbiome level as fast as you can to back to normalization. Okay. So I have this conversation with patients all the time. We say, you're on an antibiotic. Okay. The moment you say that, I was like, the moment you're done with that antibiotic, we're going on a probiotic and a gut microbiome, at least a little bit, at least doubling up your probiotic, doing all those things. The reason I tell people a lot of times that when you're taking an antibiotic, you don't have to take probiotics at the same time necessarily is because you're literally killing off the probiotics anyway, right? That's what antibiotic is. So, and there's some uses for it, of course, but one of the things that they're showing is, and I believe it's all antibiotics could do this. You could lose, your gut microbiome health for 8 years. Think about that. And then have a couple runs of antibiotics. See what happens. Now you know why we have IBS. Now you know why we have Crohn's. Now you know why we have irritable bowel, whatever you want to call it. Lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance. All these things are gut problems, right? And the gut is messed up. We don't have the microbiome we used to, and we need to. In the article, yes, there is like limit your antibiotic use. Okay. Well, sometimes you can't help that. Then you have, okay, eat well, which of course, if you're a 1% triber, you're going to do that. But what about replenishing? So, like probiotics, fermented foods, like getting into fermentations once a day, you're fermenting. If I can lose it in that quickly, and it takes 8 years to replenish, if I do 1% probiotics rich foods, if the bad gut bacteria like candida hasn't taken over, you can literally reverse quite a bit. I'd venture to say they haven't done the study where like antibiotic happens and then I do a run of probiotics. What does that look like? And how long does that take to get back to your good gut microbiome? That's what the key is, right? And so in health and healing, that's what we want to do. Okay. So I thought that was a good article to start with. All right. All right. Let's go to. Okay. Okay. Oh, I like this one because collagen is kind of a good supplement to have. So we want to watch for this. Okay. So this is an article written by Dr. Joe Mercola again. Are you taking any of these collagen products? Many collagen supplements use low-grade tannery scraps. They lack third-party testing and contain undisclosed amounts of actual collagen. Some also harbor heavy metal contaminants and cheap filler amino acids. Choose products that clearly disclose their collagen form, such as hydrolyzed peptides or whole food bone broth collagen. Avoid vague proprietary blends, verifying ingredient sources, and look for transparent quality testing, whether through named third-party certifications or publicly available certificates of analysis. Homemade bone broth, meat cuts like shanks and oxtail, organ meats and fish with skin provide natural sources of collagen in your diet. Regular muscle meats can contain minimal collagen and higher amounts of pro-inflammatory amino acids. In contrast, collagen is rich in anti-inflammatory, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. Aim for collagen to comprise roughly 1/3 of your daily protein intake, about 15% of your calories, which mirrors collagen's roughly 30% of total protein in the body. So that's a pretty cool article. I would say the biggest thing is like just sourcing out and understanding collagen, right? So collagen you want as high a quality stuff as you can. There's so many on the market now that that can be a tough one, so watch the ingredients. They have a ton of fillers essentially in a lot of these different ones. And we want to make sure we're going to take a look at ours, make sure it's a high quality one. I want you taking high quality supplements anyway. Oh, and speaking of that, boom, in my corner up here, if you QR code this little bad boy, it should take you right to Fullscript. Fullscript is a place that me and you can have a conversation. You sign up and I can send you the collagen that I think would be good for you. But it's like Amazon shopping. You don't have to do any of it. It's like a big, giant, vetted site that is growing by the day. I'm like pretty impressed with my office people at the office and my patients that are doing stuff. It's pretty awesome. So with that, just remember the Fullscript, aspect, especially in the collagen pieces of it. Okay. I thought that was a good article. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so this one's really fun. Happy foods. And all of us are going to start smiling on something, but I want to see what the research says. So, happy foods, what to eat to boost your mood. So, this is by Dr. Joe Mercola again. So, This one's going to be good. Let me read the title here. A growing body of research shows that specific compounds in everyday foods interact with your brain and gut, quietly influencing mood, energy, and emotional stability over time. Interesting. Eating about 3 servings of flavonoid rich foods like berries, apples, citrus each day is linked to higher long term happiness and optimism, helping stabilize your mood over time. That's really cool. Specific fruits such as strawberries, blueberries, and oranges deliver the strongest benefits, making it easier to improve how you feel with simple everyday food choices. Excuse me, the more variety of colorful plant foods you eat, the more pathways in your brain you support, strengthening mood, focus, and emotional resilience at the same time. What you eat affects how you feel within hours, while poor mood drives cravings for processed foods, creating either a positive or negative cycle that builds over time. Removing ultra processed foods and combining whole food nutrition with daily movement improves brain function and helping you maintain steady energy, clearer thinking, and a more balanced emotional state. That is cool. So, if you heard that right, flavonoid rich. So, these are flavonoids are plant plant strengths, like so things that are in a plant that your body will use, and the flavonoids are really profound in your berry type stuff. So your berries, your apples, and your citrus. So when you do happiness and you start eating those kind of things, it can be fantastic for your mood. So then what happens? Do you overeat as much? Nah. When you're tired, depressed, like a little down, what do? You binge eat, right? So you can even, do something. I think there was oh, Terry, thank you. Hopefully these are good articles. I love them. So, especially that brain one. I found that one. I was like, man, one reason I do this, Terry, is somewhat for my audience, but also for me, because I get to research this stuff. And then it's like, oh, I got to research my thing for, Whole Health Weekly. I love it. So, but the happy foods are pretty cool. So why not have them around? Why not have them all, as much as you possibly can? Rachel and the kids, we always try raspberry blueberries are around all the time. I didn't do it because, oh man, we want to be happy. They're just really rich in so many things. Good for your heart, good for all kinds of stuff. And they're really, really easy. They're really, really easy fruits to like a lot, right? And of course, apples, oranges, fantastic. It's always good. All right. So that was a pretty cool article. I like that. All right. Okay, let's go to. All right, we did that article last Wednesday. Oh, okay. Good. There's an article on it. So this will be good. So now, because there is a gut microbiome focus on everything, there's because of this gut microbiome focus on everything, there is now kind of a new term that everybody's going. So you had the prebiotic, which was fancy way to say fiber, right? So all your probiotics or the bacteria that you have when you eat your probiotic, it needs fiber to live. That's what it eats. It's food, right? So prebiotics kind of make sense to people. Now and then you have the probiotics. The probiotics are the gut microbiome stuff that is actually there. And then there's the postbiotic. So the postbiotic's this new thing. So let's read on this because it's fascinating how we do this. If somebody will buy a prebiotic and somebody will buy a postbiotic, or I'm sorry, probiotic, then definitely people will buy a postbiotic, right? And then there'll be a pre-postbiotic, and then there'll be a Postbiotic. You see how that goes? All right. Postbiotics are compounds your gut bacteria already produce during digestion, which means they're a result of gut health rather than a replacement for it. Most postbiotic supplements deliver isolated compounds and don't create lasting microbiome changes because they don't reproduce inside your body. Research shows that postbiotics strengthen gut barrier function, reduce inflammation, and selectively suppress harmful microbes. Oh, interesting. With the strongest benefits seen when the gut is already compromised. Whole foods and fermented foods support continuous postbiotic production, while other also supplying nutrients that supplements can't replicate. Supporting your gut environment through diet delivers steady, long-lasting benefits, while postbiotic supplements like heat-killed Akkermansia serve as supportive additions once your gut is healthy. So that's interesting. So let me keep reading this because I'm not catching what they're. So there's postbiotic supplements that are delivering compounds that are already produced by your gut microbiome. So if your gut microbiome is damaged, then you may need a postbiotic. But if it's not damaged, your gut microbiome will produce it. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So your gut may produce postbiotics. Okay. So few people realize that your gut bacteria have produced postbiotic for as long as humans have existed. Long before supplements or wellness trends, these compounds formed naturally every time bacteria in your digestive tract broke down food. Today, postbiotics show up on store shelves as capsules and powders, often marketed as a shortcut to better gut health. But this shift reflects a deeper misunderstanding about your gut or your microbiome, how your microbiome actually works. Okay. So postbiotics are not bacteria. They're compounds the bacteria leave behind after digestion. They are short chain fatty acids like butyrate is a one. It's enzymes, amino acids, vitamins, and fragments of bacterial cell walls. These substances already exist inside you when your gut bacteria function properly, which means postbiotics are an outcome of gut health rather than a replacement for it. So basically, it is saying with a postbiotic, you really want it's something that is a need if your gut microbiome is messed up pretty good. And that would make sense because of what you're missing, because the gut microbiome. Do you see, like, if you have good gut microbiome, what that is crazy. So butyrate, if you remember back, we've talked about this in an article before. Butyrate is one of these these active ingredients that help strengthen the intestinal wall. If you have a bad gut bacteria, your intestinal wall isn't protected. This is one thing that the medical society hasn't figured out yet. So the gut bacteria gets so messed up in there that the intestinal wall is now not functioning properly. And with that non-functioning proper wall, then you start having things, ulcers, irritable bowel, the little polyp stuff, like when we see polyps, like, what is that? Why did that happen? Why do some people have them? Some people don't. I tend to believe that our gut microbiome is so messed up, the walls get messed up because we don't create butyrate and these amino acids that your body needs to protect those walls from all the different foods that go through there. Okay, so a postbiotic, you learned something, and I kind of did because I was rolling my eyes at first at postbiotics because I kept seeing that because I'm like, oh, it's some kind of crazy article. So finally reading it, all right, I get there might be a place for it for sure. And we'll do one more tonight, and then we'll end it, and then on Sunday we'll have another one. So this one's really good. Okay, so why your muscles lose power faster than they should. So why your muscles lose power faster than they should. This is a pretty good article. And this is, let me see. We're going to read more. Okay. So this is CoQ10 supplementation enhances peak power production in trained athletes. Intense training rapidly drains cellular energy. Let me look. Oh, I didn't give you an article. Oh, it's by Dr. Mercola. So, intense training rapidly drains cellular energy. Systems your muscles rely on. I'm sorry. Let me read that one more time. It was all messed up in the actual word. So, intense training rapidly drains the cellular energy systems your muscles rely on, which causes power to drop and recovery to slow long before you feel overtrained. CoQ10 or coenzyme Q10 is required for energy production inside the mitochondria, and repeated high intensity exercises lowers the available CoQ10 faster than your body can replace it. Studies in trained and elite athletes show that supporting CoQ10 improves strength, helps maintain power as fatigue builds, and reduces signs of muscle damage after hard workouts. Blood levels of CoQ10 don't reflect how much reaches the muscle cells, and delivery into mitochondria is the true bottleneck for performance and recovery benefits. CoQ10 forms designed for better cellular delivery provide more usable energy with lower doses, making training feel smoother and recovery more reliable. So, what I would recommend in this situation, a lot of us aren't high end athletes necessarily. However, your body, there's certain levels. So, let's say I am a couch potato and now I go to a 5K like that one, couch to 5K kind of situation. I would supplement CoQ10 at that point based on understanding that my level has increased quite a bit. So my energy stores of this CoQ10 that your body needs for energy production, right? We want to do that so that we can get there. Now, you're definitely, if you have some elite athletes in your life, I think a lot of kids are really depleting CoQ10. They're very depleted in a lot of multivitamins in general. And I think we're causing a lot of problems. We have a lot of, if you don't have a kid that's like a video game couch potato kid that's sitting on his butt, we have kids that are playing so many sports, they're like literally exhausted. And so we have to find that nice balance between the two where we get them the right vitamin mix. We get them a heavier dose of vitamins, minerals, all those things. And CoQ10 needs to be a part of it. Now, is there a time that you can actually take too much? Yes, there's a certain amount that you want to take and then get away from it, right? So it's not like this one where you have to take all kinds of it, but your body uses it. And if you're in that higher intensity state, then you're going to do it. It reminds me similar to you would take it like vitamin D. So like vitamin D in Michigan, because our sun apparently doesn't work in Michigan anymore, you have to take a higher dose of vitamin D to get to the levels you want to. When the sun comes out, though, you can reduce it down to a very normal level. And it just depends. Sometimes people live in sunny climates. They almost don't need to do vitamin D at all if they get out in that sun, right? And so I would still suggest everybody do vitamin D anyway. But the idea is like CoQ10 is very similar. It's something your body needs all the time. Okay. And so that one probably I would supplement for it, especially if you want to train in any kind of aspect. All right. So I'm going to see if there is any. I think I did that one. Cervicogenic headaches. All right, low back pain. I'm just looking for a chiropractic one. Hasn't been too many crazy. Oh, I like this one. When systemic reviews. So this one is just one chiropractic research article. we don't have a ton because we don't have all the cash out there, right? So this one, let's do this one. A 2025 review of headaches. It's called from Ceballos Latte. Found uncertain evidence in some types of headaches, but it has produced. Oh, that's not the one I want. That's not a great one. Headaches are interesting because there's so many pieces. I think when people start with a chiropractic, that article is like too crazy. But when people start with a headache, sometimes a lot of times you have a really good result with chiropractic and tension type headaches. Tons of research for that. The problem is like it's not all headaches, right? So, but the idea that you start with a chiropractic, and a lot of times you can really start discerning what is actually causing the headaches, because a lot of times there is so many different things. I'll leave you with this story. It happened this week, actually. Had a kid, chronic headaches over 2 years. He's a young kid to the point that he can't work anymore at this point. And he's super young and wants to get back to doing actual work again. The last time he was in, the treatment he was getting all the alls done, and they kept focusing in on his head and neck. And with that, he continued to have the headaches, and it never really affected him. So when we went through the whole thing, I was just shocked. I was like, did anybody ever adjust you here? And it was just between his shoulder blades, right? So his shoulder blades and his shoulder down. I go, son, your neck isn't the problem. I really believe it's your shoulder and your upper back spinal area, right? So we said, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do an experiment, and we're going to do it because it's going to show us exactly what's going on. So instead, because, a lot of people, when they have headaches, they want you to adjust their neck because of that endorphin release and all those kind of things. I said, we're not going to actually adjust your neck at all. We're going to adjust the upper back, and we're going to mess with that shoulder. And I want to see how this goes. In one visit, in one day, he was literally probably 50% better. He was like, that is unbelievable. I go, I know. It's all, you have to find the actual cause. Headaches don't necessarily have to be from your neck. The headaches don't have to necessarily be from what you eat, your eyes, all of those things. The whole overall picture is what you want to look at. And once you find the problem, then that's when we want to fix it, right? And try to just fix that one. And because it'll show you a ton of stuff. So with that said, guys, I'm going to leave you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel pretty good. I was a little clunky there for a minute because I forgot to tell my family to go get the chickens. So without that, it would have been pretty smooth. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it tonight. Remember on Sunday at 8:30, we'll have our next one. I did vitamins this week. So this is either going to be positive thoughts or a physical condition. So we'll be looking at that on 1% Tribe. But thank you guys for all being here. I really appreciate the views and everything else. It's been fantastic. Don't forget Tribe1, TRIB1.substack.com, the Prize Inside on Rumble, and the Prize Inside a Chiropractor's Journey on YouTube. So with that said, you guys have a fantastic night and have a fantastic week.